Well, I'm going to confess right now, John, I'm one of those people that are not very educated in woodlot management, and I've had three short, quick conversations since I got here, and I've luckily learned already. So I'll run through a bit of a speech, but I'm here to learn and listen as much as possible from you guys. There's a lot obviously going on in the world today, and we're being affected in many different ways, and relative to woodlot owners, I fully understand, and I've talked to a couple of them relevant to inflation and adjusting costs for fuel and so on and so forth. So I'm fully aware of that side, and every industry and every sector on Prince Edward Island across the country is being affected. It's certainly nice to be here in front of some live bodies as opposed to being on Zoom, as Kathy said. I think since I've become a member, we're up over 300 meetings on Zoom now, and I can tell you that seeing some live warm bodies in front of you to speak to is quite different than sitting in front of a computer in your desk. I'm certainly welcomed to be here, Kathy. I wanted to come. I'm going to try to do as many events as possible. You're going to see me run out shortly after I speak because I have 3 other events on today, but I certainly wanted to make time for this organization. So like many traditional island industries such as fishing, farming, woodlot owners and forestry workers make their living from the land. When an industry or an individual depends upon the land to make a living, it fosters a deep sense of respect, commitment, and appreciation for the land itself. I'm sure some of you would like to one day pass on your operations and children or someone of a younger generation. In order for that to be possible, sustainability needs to be the forefront of decisions that are being made today. I had the opportunity, I grew up there, or a little guy up the street grew up from me, and he's here today, Thomas Baglow, and I know Thomas has been in the industry for some time now and starting a young family, and it's nice to see the forestry technician program out of UNB being seen as an opportunity for young people and bringing it back, your knowledge back to Prince Edward Island. You will all firsthand the impacts that climate change can have on your industry, whether it's poor growing conditions, extreme weather events like Hurricane Duran, floods, and forest fires. But I did try to read a couple of the newsletters when Kathy offered me to speak today, and when I read the Fall 21 newsletter, I saw Doug Millington's piece on PEI Woodlots and the carbon economy, and I have a great interest in the carbon economy, even before I became an MP, but as an MLA, which outlined the tremendous potential for PEI Woodlot owners to contribute to reducing climate change while also generating revenue for their operations. You know, we've gone through a lot in the past couple of years, and it's been a real struggle. Yesterday I was with a bunch of tourism operators who were decimated basically for the past 2 years. And there's optimism, and that optimism is in change. And, what can we do to make each and every sector or industry in Prince Edward Island better? And COVID, and all the damage it has done to the world and to society, I think, as an optimist, I think you really need to take a step back and say, how can we improve? And how can we go forward? And how can we make our industries more sustainable? And I think if everybody kind of takes that attitude, I think we really can become better as an industry and sectors across this province. Whether it is reforesting unforested land, reducing deforestation, or improving forest management, there are many opportunities for woodlot owners to capture carbon and make money doing so with the use of carbon credits. The federal and provincial governments have been proactive in recent years in planting millions of trees, and supposedly with the federal government's announcement of more. And I have to learn more about that. I'm not going to lie to you. I was asking actually John, relevant to his perspective on that. But in order to be truly successful, we will need to help from our partners in the private sector. No government, no organization is going to do this alone. We need to work together. Another issue I hear from folks with woodlots or the forestry industry is the need to secure a lumber stamping facility, and I know there's some work being done on that. I know when I was in the Legislative Assembly here in Prince Edward Island that it was a discussion, and it's something, how that works out and how that plans out. I know there's some plans in place, and I'm not as up to speed on it maybe as I should be right now, but For the past 6 months, I can tell you that I didn't deal a lot with trees, I dealt a lot with potatoes. So, creating and furthering local economies and local supply chains will help to insulate from some of the rising costs we've seen due to everything from the Russian invasion of Ukraine, labor shortages, pent-up demand, outpacing supply and production, and much more. As government seeks to address climate change and reduce emissions, it's important that we consult with the work of the industries to enable a balance between environmental and economic goals. And I come back to working together. There's no government at any level that's going to do anything relevant to reducing GHG emissions or climate change or what have you. It needs to be a jointed effort by all levels of government in each and every sector. There are increasing opportunities for climate action and profitability to work together. It's that simple. We must develop flexible, fair, and effective policies as we work with industry to address climate change, some that affect all of us and will only have further impacts for future generations. I believe we can have a strong economy while also ensuring we have a strong environment, and that has been a goal of the federal government since first elected in 2015. Natural Resources has supported the forestry industry with a variety of programs, including ones that expand market access, support forest innovation, increase use of wood and green construction projects, and more. PEI Woodlot Owners Association and members have been great advocates for sustainable forestry practices here in the province. And I will be pleased to work with you folks on expanding and supporting this valuable industry. I would like to thank you for the opportunity to speak here today. And before I go, I just want to say one thing, that Premier Pat Binns is here today. And I said to him, holy smokes, Pat, you're still showing up everywhere I go. And he showed up everywhere when he was a premier, and he still continues to do it. And I have the utmost respect for you, Mr. Binns, and our friendship goes a long way back when I was working in tourism, and those days when you were premier, and I consider you a very valuable tool in PEI, and of course in the forestry industry now that I didn't know you were into, but that's great to see you here. So with that, John, that's all I have. I'm open, an open book basically on connecting with anybody at any time. I'm here on the weekends, but if the industry or anybody has any, and I've spoken to some throughout the past couple of months, but if there's anything that anybody would like to discuss, or I'm very free and easy to connect to, and I have no problem. If I can help you, I'll help you, and if I can, I'm going to tell you I can. So I can be an advocate for you, but I need to know, what the issues are, and I'll continue to study on woodlot owners of Prince Edward Island and get myself up to speed as fast as possible. Thank you.